It's 6:30, and I'm calling to order the Pickens County Council meeting of Monday, July 7, 2025. This meeting is being held to conform with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act and the council's organizational rules. The public's been notified of the date, the time, and the place of the meeting. Public notice and the agenda was placed on the county website and the bulletin board at the county administration building at least 24 hours prior to the start of the meeting. First item up tonight is the invocation. Councilor Linville.
I asked for a submission from my constituents of people who wanted to share an invocation. This one came from a member of our community who's of the Buddhist faith, and this is part of something called the 9 Prayers. May we be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May we be free from injury, and may we live in safety. May we be free from disturbance, fear, anxiety, and worry. May we learn to look at ourselves and others with the eyes of understanding and love. May we be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in ourselves. May we learn to identify and see sources of anger, fear, craving, and delusion in ourselves. May we know how to nourish the seeds of joy in ourselves every day. May we be able to live fresh, solid, and free. And may we be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. And I'd like to add to that special prayers for the families and victims of the flooding in Texas. Please watch over us tonight as we make decisions.
Thank you very much. Next up is the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Sheriff Tommy Blankenship here tonight, and he's going to introduce us to 4 of Pickens County's finest.
Good evening, citizens of Pickens County, council, administration. As Sheriff of Pickens County, I'm honored this evening to recognize a core group of leaders who represent the very backbone of the daily operations of the Pickens County Sheriff's Office. In law enforcement, many deputies strive for a position or a role with regular working hours, investigations, specialty units, or administrative functions. Those units are certainly critical to our overall mission, but there is a dedicated group of men and women who remain on the front lines, continuously working rotating 12-hour shifts around the clock, 85-hour pay periods with no built-in overtime, nights, weekends, holidays, covering an average of 27,000 acres per deputy, ensuring that our citizens are protected and that our communities are safe. These are the deputies who are first to arrive when you call for help. They're the ones you see patrolling your neighborhoods, keeping a visible and reassuring presence throughout Pickens County, and most recently tasked with a tremendous increase in traffic enforcement. They are the face of law enforcement in our community, and they belong to our Uniform Patrol Division. There are few men and women that choose to serve their communities in a frontline role for the majority of their careers. But the individuals that I'm about to introduce are veteran leaders within that division. Each one has spent most, if not all, of their law enforcement career serving their community in a uniform on the road, responding to emergencies and leading their teams through unpredictable demands of patrol work. They make the tough calls in real time, without the luxury of backup or specialized support. And they do it with professionalism, courage, and a deep commitment to the people of this county. It is my honor to now introduce the 4 lieutenants who lead our uniform patrol teams. Lieutenant Shane Brummett of the Alpha Team, Lieutenant Adam McJunkin of the Bravo Team, Lieutenant Tommy Camp, Charlie Team, and Lieutenant Charlie Musselwhite of the Echo Team. All 4 of these men are native to Pickens County. This is their home, and they have chosen to serve their neighbors with pride. Together, they bring over 70 years of law enforcement experience to the table, and I trust them fully to lead the men and women of our Uniform Patrol Division with integrity and strength. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Billy.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Romer has a token of our appreciation. Thank you very much. And try to get a picture with all of you if you can. Thank you. Next item up is number 2, public forum. This year, Pickens County is implementing a reassessment. Tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Laura Yates, who is the Pickens County Assessor, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what to expect as the reassessment is coming up.
Thank you and good evening, Mr. Chairman and council members. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on the upcoming implementation of the 2024 countywide reassessment program. South Carolina state law requires all counties to conduct a reassessment of all real property every 5 years. However, Pickens County Council, as you know, passed an ordinance on December the 4th of 23 to delay the implementation of the 24 reassessment for 1 year as allowed by section 1243-217B of South Carolina Code of Laws. Therefore, the 24 reassessment is being implemented in the 2025 tax year. It's important to note that the goal of a reassessment is not to raise taxes, but rather to ensure that all real property values reflect the current market conditions of the required control date, which is December the 31st, 2023 for the 24 reassessment. Over time, some properties increase or even decrease in value more than others due to the location, improvements, economic shifts, sales, and other factors. So a countywide reassessment helps restore fairness and equality by adjusting values to ensure that each owner pays their fair share in taxes. South Carolina placed protections within the law for the taxpayer, and the 15% cap law ensures that real property's taxable value cannot increase by more than 15% over the 5-year reassessment period unless the property is subject to an assessable transfer of interest or has new construction, additions, or improvements. I encourage taxpayers to carefully review their assessment notices when received and notify the assessor's office if they suspect an inaccurate assessment. For the taxpayer's convenience, we have provided an online appeal module at pickensassessor.org to walk the taxpayer through the appeal process, and it even provides comp sales for evidence of the value. In short, reassessment is about equity. It's not a tax increase, it is a reset of values. So the tax burden is distributed fairly and equally. It promotes transparency, it supports proper funding for county operations and services such as schools, libraries, and public safety, and it keeps our county in compliance with state law. I'll conclude with a couple of important dates, and please note that these dates are subject to change as necessary in order to remain compliant with South Carolina state law. The scheduled reassessment notice date is August 31st of 2025. The deadline to appeal will be 90 days from the date of notice, which will be November the 27th if you're mailed on August 31st. Thank you again for your time as well as your service to Pickens County.
Thank you very much. Very good.
Mr. Chairman and members of council, we have one other speaker this evening. I call Eunice Slaymaker.
Hello, my name is Eunice Laymacher. I live in Clemson. I want to thank you for your service. I know there's a lot of details and a lot of work beyond these public meetings that y'all do, and I appreciate your service. I'm coming to address something you'll be discussing at your work session when there's no public comment, so I'm giving that comment today, and that is to speak in favor of offering paid family medical leave for the county. Employees, as you know, are a major expense of the county, and of course, it's also expensive to hire employees. So we want to keep our employees here. One of the reasons employees stay here is because of good benefits. You're probably also aware that the state of South Carolina offers 6-week paid family medical leave for, I'm not sure it's called medical family leave, for the birth of a child, whether that's through birth or adoption. That also covers public school teachers. I wanted to tell you a story. I live in the city of Clemson, and there was an employee in the city of Clemson. Her name's Lindsay Watley, a very valuable employee. She worked for the city of Clemson for 8 years. Her last title there was Community Engagement Coordinator. She's a mother, and I bet you almost every child you meet in Clemson knows her, and many of us too, adults. And she had 2 children, and she got pregnant, and she left the city of Clemson for a town that had paid family medical leave to the Lost Clemson, who then decided to talk about paid family medical leave. I'm sure that Mr. Roper could tell you that he has quite a number, or we have quite a number of young employees who are still in the age where they'll give birth, he's nodding his head, or fathers that might be adopting. And I don't know how many of you are parents. Are y'all all parents? Do you remember those first 6 weeks, how you didn't sleep well? And if you had to go to work, and by the way, in case you don't know, there is a shortage of daycare in our state and county. So we're worried about our children, and we're at work. I'm not sure we're doing especially good work in those first 6 weeks when we come back. We might do better paying people. They'd sleep better. That would be better for their children. I'm a psychotherapist, so I know a little bit about child psychology and what's good for children. So it's good for the county, it's good for the children, it's good for the parents. So I encourage you to next work session to vote or to decide in favor. You'll figure out the details. Is it 6 weeks like the state? Is it just for birth, or also for, say, when your mother has cancer and you want to stay home? The work of government isn't just involved in what's the budget for next year. It's involved in the long-term future. Let's make our county a great place to be employed for the long-term future. So people leave other counties to come here because we have such great benefits. You'll save yourself money in rehires, and you'll help all of our employees as well. So I encourage you to vote yes for that in 2 weeks, or to discuss it in detail. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of council, this concludes the public forum.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 is approval of minutes. I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes of June 2nd, June 16th, and June 16th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Yes, I wanted to point out that those are amended minutes that were resent
Okay.
this morning.
So that's fine. That's included in my motion. Okay. Okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay, those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. Next item up is the administrator's report. Mr. Roper, you're up.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to report to you on some county operations issues to keep you abreast of what's going on. First is, I don't know if you've noticed, but we have made some significant progress back in the back at our public safety building. You'll see that picture was taken today. The first course of asphalt has been laid, and it really gives you a good idea. You see the left-hand side of the photo over there will be an additional parking for the dispatch staff over there to the left. And it gives you a good idea of the flow of the vehicles around the rescue emergency management portion of the building. And then you'll see all of the blue, that's a vapor barrier. They're pouring concrete on this tonight at 2 in the morning. I don't know why they pour concrete at 2 in the morning. It might be a temperature thing. Yes, so that's going to be happening at 2 in the morning. And so we're excited to come in the morning and see that, see the pad in its completed state, and they're excited. Everything's on schedule here, going well so far, and we're very excited about the progress there. Culvert replacements, I can tell you, as we mentioned before, that Jewel Merck Road, Denmark Drive, Long Creek Drive have all been completed from their culvert replacements from Helene and are now back open for traffic as per usual. Crest Drive is actually finished from our standpoint. We've put the culvert in, we've repaved, it's open as far as we are concerned, but the water district in that area still has to change their pipe out. And so it's still closed for that work to be completed, but we think that'll happen in pretty short order. And so those culvert replacements are going well, but just, you know, you can't get too excited our roads and bridges guys have job security because there's always something else. You'll see Rackley laying there on the second, the right-hand side. Rackley came through the storm a couple of years ago where we had to completely redo the pipe at Stonewall Creek. But then it came through Helene, or so we thought. It appears that some things were happening underneath the road that we could not see. But Rackley is now offline. We've made it where people can't pass through there because of the sinkhole is developing. Rackley is a heavily enough trafficked road that you may see that jump in order ahead of a couple of the other roads that have less traffic on them. We're still working on our plan there, waiting on our hydrology study. The one we're working on right now is Rollingwood Drive. I can tell you Rollingwood Drive, that culvert that went in at Rollingwood Drive is 7 feet tall and 14 feet wide. But we were able to do that once we received the culvert. We were able to do that in-house. Our guys have completed that portion of it, but because that's such a big culvert and so deep, it's going to take a good bit of fill material. So that one's going to go through the rest of this week, and we think probably the rest of next week as well. But work going forward on Rollingwood Drive. I will tell you, I spent some time with our roads and bridges crews this morning. It's very hot, and their work has to get done. And we owe them a debt of thanks. If you see a guy from Roads and Bridges, if you know folks from Roads and Bridges, they are our heroes, and that's a story that I was telling them today. Just when they feel like they get a little bit ahead here, you know, we have more rain, and we know the intensity of those things can stress our infrastructure. So very proud of Roads and Bridges and the work that they are doing. To update you on our Sustainable Routes initiative, I can tell you that the Table Rock Center has now reopened with enhanced signage, enhanced safety features with rethought out routes in and out of the facility to make it to where the big thing we're trying to accomplish is that we have crosswalks and speed bumps and safety measures in place so that our staff is safe and so that the public is safe. We know that it might slow the public down some, but we think that if we give them a good, well laid out center, that they will recognize why we're doing what we're doing. But Table Rock is now reopened and is going well. I will tell you the one that we currently have closed is Chastain Road. Mr. Lang, I guess that's in the border between your district and Mr. Lawless's district. I'll tell you, we met up there as a staff the other day, and during the time it took me to open the gate and drive my truck through, 4 people tried to pull in. So it's a heavily trafficked center. But Chastain Road, we've really been struggling with because we would love to change some of its basic layout, but it doesn't have great bones. So we're going to do the best we can with Chastain Road. We're going to lay it out and try to make it to where you never have to cross traffic. See the right-hand side of your car, left-hand side of your car. That's one of our foundational principles here. So that's closed through July 21st. And then coming up next, Mr. Seda, is Midway. Midway will be closing on July 16th. We think that one's in pretty good shape. And so that's going to be, we may be able to open it up early, but we'll definitely get it done within that 2-week period at Midway. And then at that point, we'll really start being able to narrow down the ones that we still have to do. And so we're very excited about that project and how it's gone. Roads and Bridges involved in that project too, as is building maintenance and our solid waste department. So that's a lot of departments coming together to make that work. Members of council, I would like to ask if you would, to, during motion period of new business, to place an item on the agenda for discussion in executive session. There'll be no action requested, but I do need to give you an update on a personnel matter. So if you could please add that to your agenda for an update for me tonight.
We will take care of that. Any questions?
One quick one about the recycling centers. As someone who's moving houses next week and using a lot of recycling centers, you've got Chastain not open till the 21st and Midway closing on the 16th. Is it wise to have 2 of them down for 5 days?
Well, let me answer that question. It's an interesting way to put the question. It is if you're not done. So if we're not done with Chastain, and Chastain we've really tried to fix. That's one of the 2 in the county. The other one's in Dacusville, where when you initially pull into the center, you turn left and cross traffic. We've tried multiple different ways and had truck drivers out there trying it to try to fix that. So that's delayed us a few days. That'll just be through one weekend, and then we'll have it back open. Ultimately, we're not able to fix that problem. Is one of the frustrating things. We've Had 2 engineers out there the other day.
Right.
But it is, we're getting it back open as quickly as we can. It is pushing us through the weekend, but we don't want to slow the rest of the progress down. And we think that we can handle the traffic.
But I'm saying, should the Midway one maybe not start until Chastain is reopened?
No, I understand your point there, and we did talk about that, but we're going to stay on schedule. We'll get this one back open. It'll just be a day or two, and we'll get this one back open, and we'll stay on our schedule to get this done on time.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, concerning the EMS station at Central, which you're working on, I think the new paint looks great. I think the bad ceiling tiles being replaced is a nice improvement. But when I walk through there, kind of like as a landlord, I see things that could be replaced and improved without much cost. And I'll give you an example. Like when I looked at the toilet, I mean, it's real small, it's practically down on the floor against how cheap they are to buy versus how big some of these guys are. And I just thought, man, I'd replace that all day long. I just wonder why the project manager's not doing that calculation in his head. And I'll give you another one, like the cabinets. Cabinets are expensive, whether you put them in yourself. Those cabinets are functional, they work, you live with them, no doubt. But like if I look at that 1980 stove, which half of it works, and how cheap you can get these things online at discount, I mean, I would replace it. And I mean, I personally, if there's not any rule against it, I will buy a new toilet and drop it off. I mean, I don't have a problem doing that. I mean, there's certain things that are really just, I think that can add value that are really inexpensive. And that's an example. And I just think when I look closer at this kind of stuff, and we're getting closer looks at this stuff, whether it's the $12 million building in the back or no one bidding on the Easley expansion at the EMS station, and just to walk through Central, we need to become savvy shoppers. And I think what I'm going to do is my top 3 goals, when we look at top 3 goals in July, troubleshooting the procurement code is going to be one of my top goals. So I just wanted to add all that.
Mr. Sada, I'll tell you, Mr. Chairman, you identify an issue. The procurement code has not been readdressed in substance in more than 10 years. So economic conditions change. 10 or 12 years ago, you may have had a lot of people willing to bid on projects. And so you would default towards a sealed bid process because that certainly protects you all and county staff from any suggestion of using your buddies or anything like that, you know. So, but there is a balance here. We're now in an economy where there's, we're just talking about this with attorneys. There's more work than there are people to do it. So you do have that. So readdressing the procurement code is an important thing. I will say on the individual issues you noted about the toilet and the stove, I will look back into that. A lot of the times the issue is not the item. The stove may be functional, the toilet may be functional. I think I got a report this morning that building maintenance had, it's either 63 or 58 open work orders. There's a staff of 7. So we have them doing a great deal of work all around the county. If you pick one item out, yes, we need to look at that. We absolutely need to look at that. But you do have to balance that against the workload they're carrying and doing an excellent job with. So I'll look back at those things individually. I appreciate your feedback.
Any other comments or any questions?
On the procurement code, do we have like just a standard procurement code? Or do we have is there a stumbling block why people aren't bidding other than everybody's got plenty of work?
No, I don't believe that there is a stumbling block. We have a built-in preference for county bidders. So there's a margin for local bidders where they don't have to be the lowest bidder as long as they're within a certain percentage. We advertise on our website. We advertise through the state procurement folks. We talk about those projects in here a lot, maybe more than we should sometimes, but so they're not a secret in that regard. I don't think the idea of having a procurement code is the stumble, but I do think we need to look back at it and say, in this economy, as Mr. Sada references, if you're expecting someone to bid on something in 6 weeks for a job they might start in 3 months, you're culling some people out.
Yeah.
And so we do need to rebalance that. Just the numbers in it are no longer reflective. If you say, okay, anything under $10,000, you can do X or Y, well, what was $10,000 15 years ago? So there's real work that can be done there. We can make real progress there.
It's hard for me to grasp that nobody bid on a job. That
Something
just-
like that, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's like
mean,
a handyman.
that's a substantial job, in my opinion.
Right.
And there's something there that we need to look at.
We would love to have more people bid, and so we're glad for that conversation.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the administration? Okay, item number 5 is committee reports. We have none. Item number 6 is council correspondence. So Monday, March 21st, I'd like to schedule a work session for up to 3 items. First one is going to be another goals session. And the administrator and the counselors need to come prepared with your top 3 goals. Because the ones we set out in January, most of them have been either approved or been accomplished. Number 2, Councilor Linville will present on paid family leave. And item 3, there may be a small item that we're not sure, the administration and myself are still working on. Next is the EMS committee has 3 months left, and that committee will sunset at the end of September. So Mr. Holloway, what's the latest there, and do you have another meeting scheduled for the EMS committee?
Yes, the EMS ad hoc committee will be meeting tomorrow evening, and 3 items that we will discuss, and some of the perimeters around those 3 items. Number 1, we'll start a discussion on the procurement codes. And basically, we're just starting this discussion and open for all ideas on that. We'll be looking at the potential renovations for the Polkville Road Station and setting up a time to actually go view that particular station. And then we'll be looking at the plans for Medic One, looking at the potential of identifying any possible cost savings on those plans and any changes possible.
Okay. Next, it's time for citizens to start applying for boards and commissions. Megan, can you tell us what's new there this time around? And I know that you're trying to make some progress on streamlining the process this year. What do you got for us?
Yes, a boards and commissions information table is set up in the lobby this evening with details about current vacancies and upcoming opportunities to serve on Pickens County boards and commissions. Applications for these positions are accepted each year during the official application period, which runs from September 1st to September 30th, unless a board or commission cannot meet due to a lack of quorum. To apply for a board, view meeting agendas or minutes, or learn more about specific boards, please visit our updated Civic Plus Boards and Commissions portal. You can find the portal on the Pickens County website under County Council and then Boards and Commissions. Flyers with a QR code linking to the portal are also available on the back table. And if you're interested in serving or would like for more information, please feel free to see me after the meeting, or one of my business cards are on the table. You can call or email me at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Applications for those boards and commissions need to be in September 30th. Likely, we're going to start approving those positions in October. So get your applications in. Okay, next item up is number 7, motion for new business. I guess this is where I make a motion to add this to the executive session.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to add to executive session personnel matters. It's going to be 13B. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Any new business other than that? Okay, next item up is number 8A. It's a resolution approving policies and procedures for the Pickens County Conservation Bank. So I'm going to make a motion to approve item 8A, and the details are in the packet. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes. In allocation of, in the conservation criteria section, it references BHEC, which is no longer. It's the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services.
That's on page 15.
Yes.
Okay,
15. So
I see it towards the bottom.
yeah.
So that wording needs to be changed to what, Mr. Roper?
It would be Department of Environmental Services, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services.
Okay, so I'm going to make a substitute motion to approve this with that change. Do I hear a second? Any discussion? Okay, anything else you have? Anything else? Anybody have anything else on this? This is going to be the final vote on that, right? It's a substitute motion. What's in the packet plus this change. No further discussion. Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimous. Okay, next item up is item 9A, second reading, amending the Scenic Highway 11 ordinance. I am going to make a motion to approve 9A as presented in the packet. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously, 5-0. Next item up is 10A. This is going to be a third reading for an industrial park being developed in Oconee County. Now, this is a on-paper partnership we have with Oconee. No cost to us. They give us 1% of the revenue. But in order to get state tax incentives and advantages, they have to partner with us. That's why we do it. So my motion is to approve item number 10A as presented in the packet. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimous. Next item up is 11A. It's a presentation tonight, and I want to give you a little introduction on this. The courthouse has long been overcrowded, and I think to help with that, the county government under the last board leadership actually bought the old Carolina Investors Building on Garvin Street. At the end of the year, the Department of Juvenile Justice, Probation, Parole, and Pardons, and possibly the public defender will move from the courthouse to that building. The county recently bought 2 buildings in between, and the county will level them and pave those lots. The result is the county will own the property from the courthouse going west to that Garvin Street building. This will increase the county-owned, connected, and off-street parking from 125 spots to 190 spots. So tonight we have a very special guest. It's the Pickens County Clerk of Court, Mr. Pat Welburn. He's going to tell us about what he's working on, the courthouse, and what he's got on his mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and council. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. We've already accomplished upgrading a lot of technology in 3 of our courtrooms, and the state has done 1, so that's got all 4 of our courtrooms upgraded somewhat. Judge Gravely did bring to our attention that we need to have the ability to have a camera and recording equipment in one of our circuit court courtrooms, so we're working on that right now. Again, we have already made a little more space for the clerk's office by splitting our civil and criminal court from our family court. Crowded in our office. The plan on the increase for salaries is a great help in retaining our employees, because that has been a challenge. We've lost several to higher paying jobs elsewhere. Right now in progress, we are coming up with plans to change the entrance where the deputies screen people coming in for security reasons. And it is desperately needed. They don't have any room to work with people to see what they may be hiding on their person. Also, that area currently doesn't have any heat or air. That unit has become non-functional, and there is no repair for it. And the area will triple in size, so it makes sense when we replace to just replace with a unit big enough to handle that additional space. So we need to keep that in mind as well. And like Councilman Slater had said, probation, DJJ, and possibly public defender's office will be moving, and we need to expedite that as quickly as we can, because the solicitor's PTI office is losing their lease on across Court Street and are needing to move into the courthouse. Get all of the solicitor's office together in one building, And, they have to be in there before the end of the year. So we do have some time crunches there. And on the parking, as he said, we do have additional parking spaces on the way with the demolition of those two buildings, but it's still not a fix. We have almost 100 people that work in the courthouse. When we have jury trials, we send out summons for 250 for criminal court. We get about 40% of that. They have absolutely nowhere to park, even if we have 190 spaces. The other side of that is the little small parking lot right there at the courthouse. We'll probably have to change to all handicap parking, because when you increase your number of parking spaces, you have to increase your number of handicap spaces as well. So the only way that I can see to fix this, and I have been preaching this for 17 years now, is we need a parking garage. That parking garage, if you could engineer it to be 3 levels with the ability to expand and go on up if time goes on and it's needed. You can have a swap card system there where our employees park for free. Everybody else has to pay for parking. You pay for parking in Greenville, Charleston. All the big cities have parking issues and they charge for parking. Pickens is growing. It's not a little country town anymore. We need a parking that will fix this. Our building is getting in bad shape as well. There are all of the hallways that have wallpaper, that has been on there since 1997. A lot of the carpet has been on the floor since 1997. Continue to ask for funding on this. The windows in the building are old, single pane, non-efficient, noisy. Big truck goes by and we're having court, we have to stop. So, it needs some attention on all this. Just a few little things on our budget. I know we've just started a new budget, but our budget for chairs and for training, our chair budget was eliminated for the 2nd year in a row. It's to the point now, we have judges, employees, and employees' spouses buying their own chairs and bringing in, because it's too dangerous to sit in what we have. This is going to be a problem, and it's going to. We need to get some new chairs in. Scanning our old records. The clerk's office is the only office in the county that the old records have not been scanned and put on a computer. And we have a lot of them. The basement's full. I have asked for money for this every year for the past 17 years. And it does not seem to be a priority. It's time to do this. Those records, several years ago, we had a water pipe burst in there. We had to send 33 pallets to Ohio to have them freeze dried. Some of that stuff never made it back. Some was destroyed. It's brittle now. It needs to be scanned, because right now we cannot let the public access it. We have also asked for an additional employee in civil criminal and to work on the debt settlement. We have never gotten this employee, but I finally hired a lady that had some training in this. We got everything together. She ran the report for the past 20 years. And for the past 20 years, what we can come up with for a debt set-off we could potentially collect is a little over $56 million. I'm asking you to work with me on this. We've got the money coming It's just, we need some help with this. And, it'll just make Pickens a better place. We're trying to use our taxpayer money wisely. We don't want to raise taxes. There's a lot of people moving in. Our population is growing rapidly. So I don't think there's a need for any, increase in taxes to do this. But, that's just a few of the things that I want to bring up. Also, the city has contacted me about parking on Court Street as well. And Court Street is a narrow street. It is a two-way street currently. It has some parking on both sides. They have proposed, and I don't know when they will do this, of making it a one-way street from Main Street down to Cedar Rock Street with angle parking on both sides. That will increase parking by probably 15 spaces maybe. Might not be that much, but, you know, it's a struggle every day for parking and some of our other issues.
Let me ask you about Court Street. For those out there in the audience, TV land, that's the street that's next to the courthouse. It's a city street, so the city controls it. And there's parking issues there. Now, I mean, there's a couple business owners over there, a business owner over there that's saying there should be assigned spots. Evidently, people from the courthouse who visit, who work there, park on that street. What is your take on it?
Well, the courthouse does depend on that for parking. And, if they do a 2-hour parking like they're planning to do, that would mean either a lot of our employees are gonna be getting parking tickets, or they're gonna have to run out there and move their car in 2 hours.
Do you park vehicles there to bring people in the building?
We do have deputies that park there for emergency
Access.
escape, for judges. So we've got 2 parking spaces for deputies. Side door, we have 4 parking for deputies right there at the entrance for the judges coming in and out.
Okay. Let me ask you about your budget. You're an elected official.
Yes.
So the county government gives you X. Do you control how you can spend that money as an elected official?
Normally, we can move money from one account to another if we need to.
Okay, so here's my tough question. Your budget for general fund was up 19.5% last year. That's how much? Now, it was. Now, is that not enough for you to knock off some of these things that you have on your list? Okay, all right. Mr. Roper, does anybody else have any questions for him?
I have 2 questions. Have you ever, and I don't know if this is something that courts and libraries work together, but have you ever approached the library about scanning your documents? They have an incredible historical scanner in the Easley Library.
We really need to keep our documents inside the court.
Yeah, that was my question. So it needs to be someone who's trained in handling legal documents or able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you think that if there were a public bus system that serviced Pickens, that would help with some of your people coming into the courthouse?
I honestly don't think so, because Pickens, even though it is growing, is still basically a rural community. Buses going out into the rural communities.
Do you have any trouble with jurors who can't, or potential juror pool? You said only about 60% of people come when you call them. Is transportation ever an issue of why they can't get there?
Occasionally it is, and anytime that happens, a deputy will go and pick them up.
Interesting. Okay.
Any other questions from the council? Mr. Roper, you have anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. Next item up is going to be 11B, consideration of an intergovernmental agreement with Clemson University regarding the operation of their municipal court. Mr. Roper, this is new to us, so give us the details.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will tell you that this agreement came to me some weeks back from Clemson University asking, they've had a retirement and they need a backup municipal judge. One of the processes that other counties have used in the past is to have the magistrate fill that role. And the Supreme Court will order that to happen, the state Supreme Court. But they'll only do that if the county agrees to basically handle the money. So the agreement you have in front of you is where Clemson has offered to pay the county the money that they would need to pay in order to have the magistrate, specifically Magistrate Baker, who is Michael Baker, who's in the back of the council chambers tonight. We've got to serve that duty as a backup to the Clemson University judge when she is out for sickness or other reasons such as that. So I asked that it be placed on the agenda because I wanted you all to have an opportunity to give feedback.
All right, let me see if I understand this right, because I got an issue with this. I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. If I'm wrong, then I will stand corrected. Okay, the university wants to hire one of our county magistrate judges as their backup judge. But instead of the university paying that judge directly, the county will pay the judge, and then the university will reimburse the county.
That's correct.
Okay, now here's my question. Why doesn't the university directly hire and pay that magistrate judge to be their backup and keep us out of it?
It's a question beyond really that I might could answer. I think the magistrate could if he wanted. I don't know if he's comfortable addressing that issue, but I would defer to him.
Sure, sure.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, I appreciate you allowing me to speak, and I did not want this to be a bone of contention. You have bigger fish to fry. This was brought to me, as Ms. Roper stated, asking if I would serve as a backup. She had Judge Simmons, Lindsey Simmons of Clemson University, had entertained some interviews with other attorneys to see if they could fill an associate judgeship. They couldn't find anyone for whatever reason. She asked if I would serve as a backup while she's either on vacation, falls ill. There's a maximum of 35 days in the contract. It's a month-to-month contract. It can be terminated with 30 days notice. I can't entertain a contract with them outside of the county because it would be seen as dual office. I'm appointed by the governor. She is nominated by the board of trustees and also by the governor. So if I did something independent of the county, it would be seen as dual office, and that's illegal. I can't do that. One of the bones of contention here is the payment. When she offered this to me, I said, I'm unfamiliar with this. I know other judges around the state, and even though county help out municipalities in this form, but I would feel different. I would feel weird accepting money from Clemson while being paid as a magistrate. So I stated if I needed to do bond arraignments, I would need to do it in the morning before I came into work, or either afternoon after. I would take responsibility for her on-call duties during this time, which would be in the signing of search warrants or arrest warrants, which could be during the day. So, you know, this is new to me. She's asked. I said I would, but it would need to go through the process. I respect the council's decision. Respect Mr. Roper's decision. Obviously, the Chief Justice would have to sign off on it as well. But
I got a tough question for you.
sure.
Okay. Would it be legal under the state constitution for a judge to be a magistrate judge and get paid by the county, and then do part-time work for the university and be paid by the university?
And that's the conflict I have.
Yes or no? Would it be legal?
I don't think, personally, I don't think you should do them at the same time.
No, it's illegal. I mean, the Constitution is real clear. It says no person may hold two offices of honor for profit at the same time. And the reason, I'm going to be honest with you, the reason we're doing this financial shell game is that the university now doesn't pay you, but the university pays the county, and then we pay you, is to get around that law. And that is a step too far for me.
And I understand.
I ain't voting for that. And the second thing is, once the magistrate starts doing municipal work, and the municipals come to us, and they say, can they back up for us? You know, my answer is at that point, there's one rule. We've already decided yes. The answer is yes. You're going to get a bunch of work you're not going to want. And I'm opposed to that. I think the city should do their own work. I've made it clear on that. But once we do this, I got to be consistent.
Sure, I understand. And the other issue at hand that I considered was, in the past, if a municipal judge falls ill or is unable to serve, we have to statutorily step in and serve for them.
Okay.
The only difference is we would, assume that ticket, that warrant, whatever the case may be, and it would go through our court system, not theirs at that point. We have filled in for them.
I don't mind backing them up, but when it actually becomes a contract and you take on that second position, and if you were paid directly, it would violate the Constitution, but we create this workaround. I'm uncomfortable with it. Now, I know it's not your idea, so I'm
No,
not
I did not
blaming you.
solicit this.
You're like, hey,
I had no idea.
yeah, I get it. But that's where I'm at on it. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
And I respect those. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, in this case, I just want to clarify, Clemson University operates as a municipality under state law for this kind of thing, right?
They do, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But they are, there's a carve out for them that they are appointed by the governor. Whereas other municipalities are appointed by the mayor or the council. So
Okay.
it is a little different.
little weird,
They're a
yeah.
little special. I think you'll see governs the same way.
Okay. And then it sounds like the difficulty here is that the judge at the university is in a bind because they cannot find anyone to back her up. Is there any possibility that this could be done like a 30-day agreement just to get her the relief of a backup while they continue their job search? I mean, are they still job searching? Is the idea continue for it to not be you?
I believe so. That's how I understand it. I was still her during this process because it started back in April. I said, if you find something in the meantime, please, by all means, go with it.
Because she's had no backup since April.
Judge Clary, Representative
Yeah.
Clary, he just retired in June. So
Okay.
she just started by herself.
Okay.
But
'cause
to answer your question, I did find some solace that it is a month-to-month contract. Termination.
I mean, that's the sticking point. I completely understand where you're coming from, Chairman, on it feels like holding a dual office, but also, I mean, we've had this with trying to hire our own attorney. It's hard to hire people here, and it feels we also try to help each other out in this county, and it sounds like the university's up in a real bind where we have a judge left on her own with no backup. That seems real problematic. And so if they're still actively searching, it's an active job search, I mean, what are her options? Like this could happen to any of our municipalities. If they end up with no backup, what are their options?
To hire one.
And in full transparency, I spoke with the chairman. We have no interest in assuming the responsibility for the municipality.
Right.
Municipal courts. That was posed to us last year. I think Central, Liberty, Pickens were kind of combined, wanting to know who would assume responsibility for the entirety of the court system. It is just too much for us. We are not set up infrastructurally, clerks, judges. We do not have enough manpower to do that. We're willing to help anybody, and we always do. So I understand what the chairman is saying in that.
Yeah, like if you could do it on your own, whatever, and work it out with them, that's fine. But once, it's just no way.
And I respect the council's decision.
Yeah, I mean, because basically what it is the intent of the law is clear. The judge can't hold two positions,
Right.
or any position law. I can't go run for the city council in Pickens and win and then serve here, and then have the city council pay him and then them pay me.
Right.
That would just be, that's basically the same thing, in my opinion, similar. And I just, I don't think it's right. I don't feel good about it. And we're restrained, and I get it. I don't know if they're in a bind. I think they can go hire somebody. That's my opinion, but I just don't want to be involved in it personally, knowing what I know and what I learned. I don't know. Do we have to take action on this? Unless somebody wants to make a motion on this, I'm going to just let it go.
Mr. Ripper, did you get any more background from the university on their expected timeline, or are they in a bind? Is she like leaving the country in the month of July and they?
I don't have any information about that. Judge Baker may, but my conversations with Judge Simmons, which have been two conversations specifically about this, is that she needs to have that for peace of mind, because she needs to know that if she gets sick, she doesn't need to come in and that sort of thing. So
Right.
she didn't talk about anything specific in terms of a deadline or a looming issue
Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Next item is number 12. It's the consent agenda. There's no items on the consent agenda tonight, so I'm going to move on to item 13, executive session. We've got 2 items tonight. I'm going to make a motion for a contractual matter, Project Hydro Amendment, Project Hawk and Hawk 2, Project Exodus, as well as a personnel matter that the administrator talked about earlier. That's my motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Okay, we're going to take about a 10-minute break before we go in the back here. So if you're a citizen, you want to talk to your counselor, this is a great time to do that. Any other discussion? In favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.